Hey, what's up, everybody? We're live on the SideQuest, your weekly journey into the world of video games and video gamers, and those who, what did the Rock say? Enjoy their gaming. That would be us. That would be I and my wonderful friends here. I am Dolly DeMossi, as you can see by my name right there. To my left, your right, Taylor Bliss. That gets blurry. Yep, that's him. Right there,
Whoa.
Taylor. And then below us, the person below us is the cameraless Zach. Okay, Quest.
Hey, I'm my
How's-
dog now. So
you know what?
He's a
Kind
dog
kind of an
now.
improvement. Kind of an improvement. There's a reason that Sam sticks to the kitten holding a baguette. You don't want to see what it looks like in real life. And JJ is out at Forbidden Door, which is why we're not seeing him. And I think Sam
is that a
off doing
wrestling
stuff, too.
thing?
He's a rat. I think he's watching it.
Yeah.
He's paying for the pay-per-view or whatever they do. How you guys
does
doing? You guys
that?
having a nice middle of? It's officially summer as of like a few days ago. You guys
Could have
having a
fooled
good?
me.
Yeah, it's been summer for you since like end of May or beginning of May.
Yeah, it's been rough. It's been so hot. But yeah, I'm glad this rain just hit. There's a lot of rain. So
Good.
yeah.
It's good for lawn. It's good for people. Rain is good for people. Taylor, you're doing okay over there?
Yeah, I'm in the middle of something, so if you'll just, I would appreciate
in the
it.
middle of.
Well, Vamp, yeah, he's in the middle of.
I'm trying to.
He's
put
playing Neon
still.
White. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into.
Listen,
it
I was in the
here.
middle of a session, so the show kind of like really sprang up on
Sorry
me.
to interrupt. Your
That
life
game definitely requires sessions. Like you need to.
Oh yeah.
Like okay, I'm just gonna grind out this set of
Playland
stages, but we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that in a minute. We'll talk about some of the stuff that we've been, we've been playing. But first, we'll get into some of the news, and it's a light news week. Apart from actual real news, there's like not a lot of gaming news, which is okay. So I just wanted to touch on a few.
There's plenty of other non-gaming news.
Plenty of other stuff
to
occupy us and to bring us down. But let's talk gaming things. Something that definitely won't bring us down is that Tony Hawk 3 and 4 were being remade, and now they're not.
Won't bring us down.
Won't bring us down. So yeah, Tony Hawk hopped on a I think of a former Vicarious Visions employees podcast or like webcast or something, a Twitch stream, and mentioned how, or Necrosoft, whoever made those original games, and the topic, I watched the clip a few times, topic of the remakes and all that came up, and Tony Hawk said, yeah, listen, we were working on 3 and 4, but then Vicarious Visions was absorbed and renamed Blizzard Albany or whatever, and that basically killed that project because he said they shopped it around a little bit, but none of the pitches were up to snuff, and that was it. That was the end of Tony Hawk.
Pitches, what?
Forever. Yeah, apparently they went to other companies and they kind of opened up the process to have other companies develop the game for them, but nobody can compare from whatever.
It's kind of hard to compare it to Vicarious Visions.
Yeah, they did a pretty damn good job. I mean, they're a great studio. They did all the they've worked on a lot of projects at Rip the Hawk. A lot of projects for Activision, from like Guitar Hero to DJ Hero to this stuff, Tony Hawk, and I think they were even part of Spyro and Skylanders was part of it. Anyways, real good studio that
now is not good.
Now is just working on what Diablo Immortal. I don't even know.
I mean, they did
Diablo 2
Resurrected.
Yeah.
And we don't know what else they're working on right now. I don't think.
They're definitely just a CGI warehouse now.
Yeah.
Blizzard.
Which is, God, what a shame.
It is. So I was actually thinking, could Microsoft, when they complete this purchase, in the next year, could they say, hey, let's take a look at this again? This might be kind of a cool thing. But then part of me also thinks that I'd be excited. I know, who was it? Phil Spencer, somebody mentioned, there could be some cool opportunities to work on some of these, work on projects. But at the same time, I keep thinking, man, maybe they're thinking a little bit too broad on this, because I still think there's going to be some contraction after the whole Microsoft Activision thing is settled, because you got Bethesda, they went through a buying spree, and it is only natural. There's a lot of studios, a lot of people, a lot of overhead. It is only natural that things do scale back. That happens to every company whenever there's big acquisitions and mergers and stuff. We haven't seen it really all that yet with Microsoft, because they are kind of letting things go out there and seeing what sticks with Game Pass and development that way. But I really feel like Tony Hawk could be one of those series that just doesn't come back.
I don't understand what the 1 and 2 remake did, and are like, nah.
Yeah, it did great. It did
I
awesome.
thought that was my impression.
So
I think it was just Vicarious Visions, right? Okay, sorry, go ahead, Zach.
So I was gonna say, here's my like crazy theory, right? It's not even, it's like a fantasy. Okay, here's my fantasy. Fantasy is after Xbox officially acquires Activision, Vicarious works on a Banjo-Kazooie remake of 1 and 2. Hey, I guess that's a fantasy. I don't even like those games, so it's just me just saying like, hey, wouldn't that be cool?
I don't even know if they would, since they're playable on the Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie are playable on Game Pass already.
Yeah, but that hasn't stopped like every other studio for releasing a remake or whatever. So,
but it has stopped Microsoft from doing it.
True.
I guess is more my point. But I agree, though. I think the idea is cool. I know Dally, you're just eyeing it because you want Skylanders to make a comeback.
I do want Skylanders to make a comeback, because I freaking love Skylanders, and I knew I had heard there were multiple Skylanders projects in the works, and that could be anywhere from 2 to 4. But I freaking love. I have a mountain of Skylanders figures in the basement. One day they're going to be active again. No, they're not. They're probably not going to make any more Skylander toys for the thing. But I wanted that. But then I sit back and I'm thinking, yeah, but that's just not the way Activision functions. And again, I don't know how, with all these studios coming in, what's that? You're seeing contraction with Netflix right now. Netflix said, well, we're going to start scaling back on not just employees, but the types of movies we make, because you do get to a saturation point that enough people have subscribed, and the subscriptions will go up and down and they'll fluctuate. And it's going to happen with Xbox and Game Pass, because they are the top sub, the top sub thing right now for gaming. We don't know when. It could be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, who knows, 15, 20 years from now, but it's going to happen eventually. So, but I think, you would likely see more of a Banjo-Kazooie than a Skylanders under Microsoft.
No, that from literally anyone.
Yeah, it's true. You're probably right. There actually is still, I believe there's still a Skylanders mobile game that's still pretty popular amongst like a super niche. It's not developed by Activision or anybody. It's like some mobile game. Yeah, it's really, I think it's only on Android right now. It's Russian. Yeah.
It's a Korean game.
I think it's really weird that Vicarious Visions was basically just a handheld mobile dev and then a support dev. It's just weird. I also tangentially, or maybe completely non sequitur, I think that the absorption and renaming of studios to a bigger studio town it lives in is fucking super lame. Immensely dumb.
Yeah.
God, it sucks.
You lose so much of the character of that studio.
Yeah, like why abandon it? I don't know. Like it's like your Omega brand is not as valuable as the intimacy of having even just the notion that you could have actual people working at your company, at least in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe we're coming back around, and that's just a lagging indicator on how things used to be, and that'll catch up, and people will move back to it. Obviously, Ubisoft gets made fun of it like every single time that there's an org chart showing all the Ubi studios.
Rockstar. Anytime you look at one of their games, it's like Rockstar North, Rockstar South, Rockstar Vancouver. Rockstar is like, holy shit, how many of these do they have?
Yeah. I mean, it's up there between Rockstar and Ubisoft. Ubisoft has quite a few.
Yeah. They have a ton.
But anyway, that was my parting comment on that
one. Some other news. We have speaking of remakes and cell make. No, that makes no sense. That's a horrible segue. Shigeru Miyamoto did not like the tune Zelda from Wind Waker. This news came from Did You Know Gaming. I'm gonna play the or go through the Nintendo Life article here because I think it was kind of interesting. Wasn't a fan of that art style, and I thought this quote was pretty present. So they kind of talked about Did You Know Gaming does a great job of sort of digging into the history of a lot of this stuff, and part of I think there was an interview in like the early 2000 or mid 2000s with Nintendo Dream Magazine with Eiji Aonuma, who says, if I had gone and talked to him from the very beginning, I think he would have said, how is that Zelda? He had trouble letting go of the realistic look. And he goes, this is great. At some point, Miyamoto, had to give a presentation against his will. They put a gun to his head. They put a Korok to his head. That's when he said something to me like, it's not too late to change course and make a realistic Zelda. So even he did not like the tune stuff at first, but hey, it worked out in the end.
Well, yeah. Meanwhile, the Wind Waker game has the most games based on that individual link.
Right.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
There's at least three.
Because because there was the Wind Waker, and then there was the two Spirit Tracks games.
Train. Yeah. Spirit Tracks and Spirit Tracks and the
Phantom Hourglass.
There you go, Phantom Hourglass. I was combining Phantom Pain and the Spirit Tracks with a Phantom. It's kind of
what
a crazy
game that would be.
Yeah, what a game.
I'm remembering Miyamoto also having a similar reaction to seeing Donkey Kong Country or Donkey Kong 64, I think. One of those, but he hated both of the look. He said it was like affront to God or something. Like I remember like a very distinct quote. But yeah,
That's awesome.
he's a stickler for like the aesthetics of games. He's kind of a weirdo.
There you go. Yeah, he wants things he's very hands-on, very specific art style. And I think when Aonuma kind of decided that we're going to try something a little bit different with Zelda, because they had been showing that realistic Link fight. Remember at the GameCube debut, like, hey, here's what Link's gonna look like on GameCube, and everyone went, oh my god, that looks amazing! This is awesome. We didn't get that till Twilight Princess, like 7 years into the GameCube.
Well, they also showed a different. So this is kind of is making a lot of sense if you wanted a realistic Zelda, because remember the press stuff for Twilight Princess was like bleeding. There's like blood on its sword. Things are like way more like heavy and mechanical looking. It's just like this is all making a lot of sense because I remember the trailer for that game. It said swords will bleed. Like that was like one of the quotes.
Oh, jeez.
And so this is like actually making a lot of sense. And I was like, oh, that's why Zelda started going in that direction, which is kind of weird. Like, does Miyamoto think of Zelda as his like Lord of the Rings, like a dark epic fantasy, like high fantasy? Is that like what he thinks of it as? Because that's not the vibe I get from it. So it's kind of
I completely agree, because I remember when they debuted the Wii U. So I was at E3 when they showed off the Wii U for the first time, and they had a demo of a demo of a realistic Link fighting the giant spider monster, and again, very cool fight. But that game never came out. Yeah,
it's a very illuminating quote. Actually,
it really is. But anyways, there you go. He didn't like it. I'm sure he turned his mind around when he realized that it was actually pretty cool.
And meanwhile, look at the remake of the Game Boy one.
Oh yeah. Link to the Past, or Link's Awakening. Link's Awakening.
Yeah. I mean, look at the art style they went with the Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
I mean, you took a game that was ambiguous in what it could have been stylistically, and we're like, no. Dude, we're gonna turn up the tune.
Mm-hmm. Yep. last little bit of news. Halo. There's some Halo news out there, Zach. You brought
Oh
this up. Let's
gosh,
hear what
this is
Really good
great
great,
news.
news.
really
Great
good news
news.
for people who like spending money.
Well, it's like, okay, so there's a campaign that apparently got leaked by a renowned leaker, like a person that the community trusts. But it's like the weird thing is they're just now starting development on it. So it's like it could be like 2024, 2025 before we even see it, which is just wild to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, 343's just kind of fumbled Halo. Like it started
really
out
have.
it started out pretty strong, but now it's just like, okay, we don't know what to do. Let's add microtransactions to the Master Chief
Which is
collection.
such a weird thing to add microtransactions to. It's so bizarre to me.
It's
I don't know.
crazy.
It's got to be somebody at the top. They're like,
Mhm.
listen, we have to start earning more money back on this. It's costing us server stuff. Blah 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 blah. But
The
like,
TV show's not doing it.
right? But I know that there's got to be somebody underfoot who can't explain it to them that like we have goodwill, it has value, and this erodes it. We really shouldn't do this. I mean, that conversation has to happen at some point.
Right.
Either that or somebody is being silenced and like doesn't want to talk about it because of fear of being ostracized or something. I don't know, because it doesn't look good.
No.
And there are, but I don't know, maybe we're just at the point where business wise it literally doesn't matter anymore.
Also, they had that thing last week with the Juneteenth, where like the Juneteenth skin was named after Unky. Like, it's just kind of bizarre what's going on over there.
Yeah.
It's the unforced errors of game dev.
Halo would have been Halo is like a centerpiece. Like when you launch a game console, you always look to that IP that's going to be the one you show in all the marketing, like God of War for the PS4. Yep. I mean, they showed a bunch of stuff for the PS4. We all knew God of War was coming, but they showed, Nintendo had Breath of the Wild. That was for the Switch. I mean, people were shitting themselves for that. And it should have been Halo. Halo is the marquee Microsoft gaming IP, I feel, because Master Chief is so huge. And the last year or two have just been these consistent fun. Now, the game's enjoyable. I do like the single player campaign. I haven't completed it.
It's good.
It's good. The multiplayer is totally competent. I'm totally fine with the experience, but if it really feels like Microsoft and 343 especially, I don't know. Well, actually, I don't know. Whoever's making the decisions hasn't done anything.
Yeah, it's right after. So after it really goes to show how Bungie is good at cultivating a community and keeping people engaged, because they're able, like when Halo was in their hands, they did a very good job of staggering maps, staggering things coming out, promoting to people. And then once the game left their hands, it's been downhill. And you can tell from Destiny that's Bungie's like forte is community focused things. And 343, I've never heard anybody say, man, I love 343. Nobody has ever said that. There's not one
people
person
that work at 343. That's about it. But no, you're completely right. And I think what Bungie does really well is that they're very transparent with, hey, here's the list of shit that we're coming out with. Here's how you can get a hold of us. Here's how we're proactive in the community in terms of like social justice or how we're supporting our workers. You don't hear anything from 343. And I kind of feel like, is that because 343 is essentially just a small piece of Microsoft Gaming Studios? And, so I don't want to say they're silenced or anything, but they have to sort of follow this corporate path. They have to use Teams, right? You got to use Teams to talk to them. But I mean, maybe that is a part of why 343 isn't as open as Bungie, because Bungie is, they got out when the getting was good. They got out twice. They got out of Xbox, they got out of Activision, and now they're kind of sucked into Sony a little bit. I don't know how that will turn out, but yeah, I hate it. Since the original moment they showcased Halo Infinite, you never got like the complete bit of story, like the complete package of information at once. It was like, hey, we're gonna show you a little bit of we're gonna talk about the multiplayer. And by the way, these visuals suck. We know. Don't mind the visuals because we'll change them, I'm sure. And now we're gonna talk to you about the campaign like a year later. And oh, by the way, the Forge. We'll talk about the Forge, but it's not ready yet.
Still not out yet.
Like,
dude. I mean, we're more than 6 months out, right?
Yep.
More, way more.
Because
it
was November.
November. Yeah.
Let me look.
I mean,
Halo.
I mean, how
November 15th.
how broken was co-op?
Yeah.
That it is I mean, like when they said it was going to be out later, I didn't think it was going to be 8 months.
No.
I mean, we're talking about the single player game, and then I mean, listen, I know we're doing the thing where we deride how difficult it is to make
we
games
don't
here.
know, right.
But I think the reason why it's frustrating and the reason why you can draw these parallels is because not even making a Halo game, but literally 343 Studios has done it 2 games before.
Yeah.
They've done it twice. They know how this works. Obviously, there's probably new technology, new platforms, engines, whatever. But you just kind of have higher expectations.
I think there has to be some sort of like internal shuffling
there has
that's
to be.
happened.
There has to be.
Where like the corporate, like their operations manager or whatever, like got fired or got moved. Like a person that doesn't get limelight in games journalism,
but is
drives,
integral into the process.
Yeah, something happened to that person, and they're just kind of falling behind. Like that's
I agree.
What it has to be.
And I would guess that it's happened twice because of how poorly, how much fumbling there was at the initial release, the already getting delayed, and then still not being able to do anything other than single player and what, in my opinion, was a disjointed multiplayer. It felt beta-ish. I haven't personally gone back to it since then. But
yeah, it's kind of hard to, because I mean their initial pitch was like, yeah, we know it's a beta, but that's why it's free. That was their initial pitch.
Yeah.
And
now it's exactly. I don't think it's changed much.
Still feels that way.
And I don't want to rehash the stuff about the Bungie stuff, but like when you went into Halo 3, even just from the dash on, looking at the map, like that little map graphic that they always did with showing all the real-time players and stuff like that, I don't know, you just felt like you were like in a game, which I think is not what you feel when you boot up Halo Infinite. But anyway, that game continues to have problems.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said at least Master Chief's in Fortnite.
His longest lap. I can't believe they made a game about Master Chief from Fortnite. It's really kind of crazy.
But maybe one day they'll make a game about the Captain Falcon from Smash Brothers.
Maybe.
What's interesting to me is that all those rumors about the Halo Battle Royale mode, that what's going to happen at the E3 or whatever it is, nothing Halo showed up except for the
dude. If that mode comes out, it's going to be the worst thing. Because like the time to kill in Halo Infinite is so high. Yeah. Like for a battle royale, it's just not going to work. Like right? You're going to be standing in there chunking out a dude for like a minute. Like it just won't feel good.
And you don't want to disjoint it from multiplayer, because then it's like, I don't want to learn 2 games.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And no one will be Master Chief, which is the other thing. How many Master Chiefs can you have?
Dude, make a Dead by Daylight clone, but with Halo. Like one person plays the Master Chief, and like 8 people play Jackals and Grunts, and like all these things. Like
that sounds kind of badass. Actually.
Yeah, I know. That's why it'd be fun.
Let's get Bluebird Team. Can someone contact Bluebird Team? And get this
Doom Eternal has a mode like that where one person plays the Doom Slayer and like 6 people play the little imps and stuff. Like that's cool. Like,
I actually played that mode on the Switch and it worked and it was fun. Any other news? I think that may be it.
What's his name? The Sonic guy confirmed that Michael Jackson made the Sonic music.
Oh yeah, and then he had to kind of step it back.
Well, I meant like Michael Jackson-ish music.
Yeah. You know what's
That's
interesting is
crazy.
that was the era that Michael Jackson was like very secretive about the stuff he'd appear on. He actually was on that Simpsons episode, but he did the voice. You guys remember the Lisa, it's your birthday? Maybe a little bit too old for you, Zach, but
I've never watched The Simpsons.
oh my god! So there was a very famous.
This is back when it was
episode,
good.
Yeah, where Michael
20
Jackson was
years
on there,
ago.
but they instead of Michael
Yes.
Jackson, they had this big like rotund white dude. So the joke within the episode was, it's not Michael Jackson. It's just some guy who's like off the street. Well, the person that actually voiced the character was Michael Jackson. He wanted to remain anonymous, so they never mentioned in the credits. They never showed who the actual voice was, but the person who did the singing was they used a Michael Jackson impersonator to sing the actual singing parts because he couldn't get out of his contract with Sony or Pepsi or whoever it was. So
to do any singing part.
To do any singing parts, so they used impersonator to do the singing, but he did all the voice, but went uncredited. But yeah, it just I believe the music part of I totally believe that story for the Sonic game. Yeah, I mean he was a big fan of Sonic.
That's so
I was
cool.
gonna make a very bad joke. I'm not going to, but yeah, he's a big fan of Sonic, and that's just funny. That was always a rumor. I remember always growing up in like the 90s.
Oh.
Like, Michael Jackson made Sonic the Hedgehog soundtrack. No, he just made the Moonwalker game. No, it's true. Good stuff. I think that's it. Nice slow week.
Yeah.
That's fine. Let's talk about what we've been playing. I want to start because you guys are kind of playing the same thing.
Yeah.
I want to start with two things. One, I'm going to show you guys real quick how I'm going to burn $415 live on air. All right, ready? I have a Play.Date.
Oh.
And I'm going to unwrap it. And the unwrapping is going to take the value down. Apparently, the value down from 415 wrapped to.
Yeah, well, I can tell you what else would do it is holding on to it. No, it would be holding on to it until all of them get shipped, and then the value will also steadily drop.
Correct.
It's exactly what happened to Steam Decks. They've dropped in resale value.
They're still
very fast.
They did
just like those graphics cards.
Just like I still look at the Steam Decks out there. I'm like, man, should I sell mine? I could probably make an extra 150. I'm like, nah, I won't. I'll hold on to it.
Bro, it's just $100.
Taylor will be very mad at me. Anyways, let's open up the Play.Date here, and it says have fun. How freaking awesome is that? Console of the year, brand new console. Oh my god, look how tiny this thing is. Holy cow. This is really cool. And there's a little crank.
That's no Steam Deck.
That's no Steam Deck. I know Johnny Wags was making. I don't even know how to use. Oh, I like the material. This plastic is really nice. I know Johnny Wags was. Oh, it came on. Look at that. It's got some text in there.
Ew! It does not have a backlight.
No backlight.
I think you can turn the backlight on.
Is there? I have no idea. I
literally just turned God it has a backlight.
It says skip intro. I'm going to turn this off. Okay.
No, it has no backlight.
Look how freaking cute this is. This is awesome. I know they sell like extra accessories and shit for this already. It's got the cute little crank. This is a great fun little device. Like I said, I know a lot of people are having fun with it. I'm going to make a game for it. And
yeah, the game aspect's cool. I like that, but
a full season of games, yeah.
The deliverability or whatever, the way I would receive those games, I'm not a fan of.
Yeah. Anyways, Play.Date. I'll do a full report when I have more time with this sucker in the next episode. But yeah, there you go. I put that sucker over there. I've already figured. I've already messed up how that handle gets stored. Play.Date. And then I have been playing that hot new jam for the Nintendo Switch. Let me play this right now so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Let me turn off this volume.
Can't
that
think of
hot.
anything.
Oh, you're gonna know
Xenoblade.
exactly. No, I'm still playing Xenoblade 2, and it fucking rules. No, Mario Strikers. Mario
Oh,
Strikers Battle League. I picked this sucker up because I loved Mario Strikers Charged. Now, Mario Strikers Charged was light on content. All the Mario Strikers games are light on content because they are really just like party soccer games. Charged had these cool, not really a story mode, but had sort of like these individual challenge modes. This has none of that. In fact,
Oh,
this is so bare bones in content.
and
It
I
controls
knew
great.
it.
yucky,
I
It
knew it.
it controls great. It's there's no content in this. It's you can't even set like a lot of the match
bro.
specifics like time and which items show up and things like that. You can't make those settings. You select your characters, fine. I mean, I can have Waluigi and
Ooh,
Mario and Princess and
Mario
you know
looking kind of cool.
and adjust their
Cyborg Mario.
and adjust their
He's got
appearance.
a
You can open up
scouter.
here. And there are other characters like forthcoming over the next several
This is
months. Here.
Tron. Wait, what? What is
Yeah,
this?
you could get their gear and shit. And I have my Waluigi looking like a biker, like a drunken biker, which is great. But and that's it. It's they really want to push the online league mode, which is just go
Cringe.
online and play against other people. But
Nintendo cringe.
it is Nintendo cringe. But I mean, it's fine. Again, the soccer aspect of it is fine, but that's all there is. This game has no right being $59.99. This game should have been like $29.99.
Oh,
This is Dolly right here. Even
I know
Mr.
that's
Nintendo is
crazy.
saying cut that price in half because there's not enough. There's not enough to do in this game. They give you like 4 cups, which like 4 tournaments to blaze through to go through. I beat all of them, 4 or 5. Maybe there's 5. I beat all of them in like a sitting, and it's not
A 24
that part.
hours
Yeah,
sitting, of course.
not even. Dude, this is the first time I completed a game, and I'm like, I'm done with Mario Strikers. I'm probably not going to play this game ever again. How
That's
fast
so
can I
bad.
return it to Best Buy? Um, uh, it it's party soccer, but do we really do we need it? I don't think you need it. There's not
Ooh.
enough. There's not enough in there. It's just so bare bones. Again, it's very competent from a control standpoint. Next Level Games did a great job. And some of the finite details of like how you execute special moves and how you move around the course or the courses and stuff, how you score goals, how you pass, do all that kind of stuff
Bro.
is really good. But when there's nothing else around it, it's like cool. Pong was good too, but Pong RPG is probably a little bit better. But anyways, that's it.
This
It's
is like
very
this is
bare bones.
weird. It's like it's a weird filler game that
Yeah.
that Nintendo released
like
because
it.
they had to move something. Because okay, so I'm just closing my eyes, imagining the Nintendo schedule. Xenoblade 3 got moved up.
Yeah.
Then this comes out the month before.
Yeah.
So what got moved from this month that they were like, oh, there's a soccer game in there. I don't know. Like
What
it's
the
crazy.
roughest part to me is that this keeps happening with all. I mean, this was
For
Camelot,
sports
right?
games.
Yeah.
This is Camelot again. I'm assuming.
No, this is Next Level.
Okay.
Next Level did Strikers Charged as well. Yeah.
Then then the problem is even more systemic than I feared, because yeah, I mean, like Zach mentioned, he knew where I was going with it. We could put in tennis aces, strikers, and golf in like a 3-pack, and that would feel like a complete game.
Yeah. Yep.
I think we're pretty
Completely
much
agree.
at that point.
Completely agree.
It's like we're just now it's going to be Mario Sports.
Yeah.
You put in all 3 of those games and you're like, oh, this is sick. Yeah, it's a little light in some of the stuff, but I got tennis and I got golf and I got the other sport that I forgot to.
Tennis, golf, and soccer, which you're looking at
soccer.
right now.
Right. Yeah. So I was like, man, which one am I forgetting? But yeah, it's it's just like it keeps happening where they're like, oh well, it doesn't have this, and this, but it still plays really well. It's like, dog, how much else we gotta lose before it's too much?
Legit.
It's crazy to me that Nintendo just has the ability to like have schedules for games that they know aren't full games. They're just things for people to buy that they just make on the back. They just like make
Switch
on the
Sports. I brought it up
side.
Switch Sports the last time. Switch Sports is bare bone. Switch Sports should have been the Mario Sports package, right?
Yeah.
I think that was part of.
it.
Yeah, and I think that's part of my inspiration is literally the fact that came out as a package. I think that's even worse because they look less fun and are less games.
But yeah, it's like they have these games that they just make on the side to like fill in slots. Like they're not made to be games. They're just made to have a sale for that month. Like that's what these games are, which is it's crazy that they have the ability to do that because no other studio does that. Like there's like no publisher that's like, hey, let's make a filler game. Like it's wild, but there's so many cases of Nintendo just like, okay, let's put this shit here, this shit here, okay, and then we're gonna put a big game here, and then shit games for the next six months, and they know, but they know they're gonna sell. That's the Nintendo thing too, is they know they're gonna sell, and it's wild.
Go down the list of those, right? So we talk about this one, Switch Sports. There was, remember the Game Maker Garage thing, was it last year? That nobody is using. Nintendo had like, it was supposed to be better than Mario. By the way, Mario Maker fits into that too. It's like June. You don't want to really, if you're Nintendo, if you're a fan of Nintendo games, any game that comes out in May and June, like just don't bother because it's literally just, we got to get something out there, guys. Let's get it out there quick.
Nope.
It's like, and they still charge $60 and they still sell a buttload of them, supposedly.
It's wild to me that they just don't relegate these games to being a part of their expansion pack plus. Like, hey, here's these random side Nintendo games. Like, that's the consumer friendly thought.
We will never see that.
Yeah, no,
because that is a broad devaluation of the brand and of the character itself, which that'll basically 100% prevent it.
Well, it's also consumer friendly, which is not Nintendo.
Very true.
Like the cool, like Mario 35 is the kind of game that I would go back to nonstop because I really freaking like that game. And they took it off. Like I would have paid for DLC for that game.
In what world do you remove that game? It's so
I know.
Anyway. The servers will cost $1 a month.
That's what I've been playing. I will actually speak about a fishing game next time that we got for review. That's the one that Zach wanted, and both Taylor and I got codes for it. So I'll speak to that next time, as well as Ninja Turtles. I'll speak to that next time as well. But I want to hear what you guys are playing. So,
okay, I'll go first.
All right.
So I'm not. Yeah, so I have 3 I can't talk about, which is crazy. So like,
yeah, it's true because you got 2 in like a bundle, right?
Yeah, so there's that. But so this weekend, I'm just gonna talk about this. This weekend, I've been playing Dragon Quest X, which is crazy because it's not localized. It's not in the States. But a group of people have made it so you can pretty much play the game in English. So there's a group of translators who have translated, I think, half of the game like in an official way, and then the rest of it is translated by DeepL, which is like a AI translating thing. But they also use that to pull scripts from the game and fix those scripts. So it pulls from a SQL database and it'll just put in the translation in there. So it's constantly being fixed and like changed. So it's pretty easy to play the game now. I've just been having a lot of fun with it.
You're playing it on PC?
Yes, it's a really good MMO. The world is interesting. Dragon Quest,
but MMO, right? It's older than Final Fantasy. It's like right around the same time as Final Fantasy 14, right? Because it came out for Wii.
It came out on Wii. Yeah.
Wii U, so technically, it's as old as Realm Reborn.
Realm Reborn,
Because
yeah.
yeah, because 14 originally launched in 2010. Realm Reborn rebooted 2012, which
And
is
this
the
was
same time.
2012. Okay,
Yeah.
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 So read the reboot of 14 and this came out the same year.
What is really interesting to me, being a big 14 fan, is seeing how much Dragon Quest X influenced 14 and how much 14 has influenced Dragon Quest X. There's a bunch of mechanics, bunch of just story things like story quest and things like that. They're just similar. And but yeah, it's just been so fun just like talking to this small community of like 40 or 50 English players and just figuring it out and playing. But it's just really cool. It's been really fun. And as an MMO player, like
Yeah.
I play a lot of these games, this is just a breath of fresh air. It's so unlike anything we have over here. It's very much geared towards like an open world kind of RPG, but with a story as well. So you can go through the story, or you can just do side content and level up, hang out, whatever. Crafting's fun, and yeah, it's just genuinely like really cool. I will say
Shout
the
out
coolest.
to Ryan Molina, our good friend.
Yeah, Ryan
Part of that group.
Molina, he's the guild leader guy. He's great. But so I think coming from a MMO where you have to press buttons like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever in a sequence on time, what's cool of this is like you it still plays like a Dragon Quest game. So
Mhm.
you're just like, okay, let me do fight, attack, or like fight skill.
Love it.
And there's like you're like setting up these like attacks and things with normally a party of NPCs who are programmed really well, which is super cool. So you have your own party, or you can party with real people if you want
Yeah.
to. And the whole way that works is you go to a bar and you get to hire guys, and those guys are just other players in the game. So
Let's see.
they'll just volunteer themselves, but they're an NPC that'll follow you around, and you can level them up and change their gear, all this
A
stuff.
little like Dragon Quest 3.
Yes,
Dragon
kind
Quest
of like Dragon Quest 3,
My
like
favorite.
Dragon's Dogma,
Yeah.
just without the NPCs learning and stuff. Yeah, so it's just really cool. But I think the most interesting mechanic to me is you can body block characters. So like when you fight something, the tank, what it does is it'll push. There's like you'll put your body weight against a character, and it'll hold the bad guy back so the casters can get their cast time up and cast a spell.
wow.
Or they'll like if like a enemy wants to run away, the tank will get in front of it and keep pushing it back. So you can like line up spells and like line up dots as like your tank is pushing things through. It's just and it's an intentional mechanic. It's just really fun. Like every 4 hours they have a metal slime time, so these slimes come up and you can get a ton of experience points. Like I leveled like 20 levels or so in like an hour. It was really really cool. But my NPCs, when the slimes would try and run away, they would body block them, so we would get the experience. Like it's really interesting. It's just so unique. And I'm just excited to keep playing it. I'm definitely going to purchase it. Like I'm going to buy it. I'm going to get a Amazon Japan account. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to subscribe. Like I'm going to keep playing it because I'm just genuinely like enjoying it. And also just pulling out my phone and translating things that aren't like translated is pretty easy. It's not horrible. Yeah, I've been having so much fun.
I actually played the game on Switch. Well, I tried, I should say. I used my Google Translate on my phone, and I would hold it up to that's an advantage of, holding up to the screen and translating the text as it went by. And it obviously becomes really tedious at some point, but you do start to sort of remember some of the menu options and stuff. I probably played maybe a couple hours of it at most before you start to hit. They have a free trial, so I tried the free trial, but you do kind of hit a wall with that free trial. But I'm so bummed they haven't released it in the US.
The thing is
we're
like
past the point where it's going to come.
We're past the point where it's going to come, and it's like also like it just wouldn't work over here.
Sure.
It just
Sure.
isn't
I
Yeah.
like
believe you.
there's no the only market is Dragon Quest fans, and the market for Dragon
That
Quest
market ain't
fans
here.
the market for Dragon Quest fans who want to play an online version
Yeah.
is also very small. Like it's not like they would lose a lot of money. It it's so open and so just kind of do your own thing,
Sweet.
chill. It's just not like it's like there is in-game raids kind of, but it isn't like focused around hardcore raids. It's like focused around just like solo content or content that you can do with friends to like get better gear, but there isn't like a hardcore scene at all. It's very Japanese cultural like focus. Like I went to the casino this morning and I was just sitting around with a bunch of Japanese guys playing slots, and like when you sit down for the slot machine, it says, please be quiet, like don't say anything, like in like all chat, like just like respect people's time. Like, and that's just not a thing that would ever be over here. Like it's just like, hey, don't talk. Like it's wild. It's great. I'm glad that I'm able to play it in the state that it's in now, and that there's a group of people who are like, yeah, let's translate this stuff so people can play it. But yeah, this is the only way that you'd ever be able to play this game because it's never coming over here, like ever. It's just not going to work. But yeah, oh yeah, I was gonna say the story is pretty dark too. Like you die in the tutorial, and then you get to pick your race, and then you get to be reincarnated as a dead like a dead body of a person of that race from like a specific city. Like, oh, the hero of this city just died, and they are like, you're about to be buried, but then you just come back to life. You're like, wait, how are they back? So it's just like, yeah, it's really cool.
Sweet. So cool.
Yeah. I was gonna say definitely check it out, but you know, like no one's gonna check it out. So
no, I would maybe if we ping the servers enough, Square will at least bring the offline version, because they have the Dragon Quest offline, which is coming in September, but only to Japan so far. But that tells the story of Dragon Quest, just kind of in a more of Dragon Quest 10, just kind of in a more traditional,
yeah,
I think
it's
a very traditional top-down classic.
Yeah, it's
Dragon
like
Quest way.
chibis and everything,
yeah.
but it's also like it's a very Final Fantasy 14 thing where it's like, hey, there's this amazing Final Fantasy story trapped within this online game versus there's an amazing Dragon Quest story from what I've heard trapped in this online game. And so it's like they're like, hey, let's make a offline thing. But also Yoshida is the like core planner for this game, so he's like, it kind of makes sense for all these things. They're like back and forth because he's like the head, like chief planning executive, I think, for the whole branch who does this game. So yeah, so Final Fantasy 14 is all up in there. Yeah.
Cool. All right. What else you guys got going? What else you playing? You might have a PowerPoint, don't you?
I actually don't. I don't have a neon white PowerPoint, but yeah, my PowerPoints are for those two games I'm playing. I can't mention.
Got it.
Yeah, but neon white, yeah. Taylor, you talk for a bit because I just got done talking.
Yeah. So Neon White was a game we talked about. Was it 6? How many months ago?
Several.
Yeah, it was several months ago for one of it had a demo on the Steam Next Fest the time before last, I think.
Like the winter one, right?
Yeah, it was over the winter.
It's a Donut County, folks.
I was like, wait, what?
Folks, it's one guy.
Yeah,
it's one guy. It's literally one dude.
Yeah,
that threw me for a loop before I remembered the connection there. But yeah, so it's basically it's a speedrunning game. That's really it.
It's like
the story is irrelevant for my purposes.
I think the story's good.
The story's fine. It doesn't do it for me. But,
I like the characters. Like the characters are really good.
The characters are also, in my opinion, fine.
Dude, no, they're funny. They're so funny.
Yeah.
So I've heard like I've heard that the game has a little bit of Mirror's Edge-ish feel to it because you are kind of running and hopping over stuff and doing a little bit of parkour, but then at the same time, you're picking up these weapon cards, but they're not really, it's not like deck building. It's more of like, this is just a way to kind of manage your...
So the cards dictate, basically all of them are actual guns or weapons, but then have secondary fires that have usually aerial mobility of some kind, whether that is dashing in a straight line, throwing down a bomb that you can kind of like rocket boost off of. I actually don't know what that shotgun does. There was the dash there. So, you basically, there are ways to dictate the route that you take to clear the level. So you need to, be able to kill all the enemies and make it to the end as fast as possible. So where those cards are, when they drop, who drops them, basically will just dictate how fast you can get to the end for each level. So, and also there's also these little collectibles that you can pick up that we're watching here. And that serves for little side quests and stuff like that.
So I was gonna say, sorry, I had to go.
Yeah, you're fine.
But yeah, so what I was gonna say is the designer, he specifically said like he made it as a speed running game. I mean, obviously, but he says like he sees speed running as like a puzzle solving thing. So like it's like you have a set amount of like tools and you figure out how to use your tools to approach a situation. So that's kind of what it is. So like, yeah, you can go in the crit path and just like go straight and do fine, but there's so many ways that you can like use it to like use those cards or tools to approach things differently and get the faster times or get the faster speeds. It's just, it's really interesting how he designed the game. Like, it's just like there's like a weird flow state that you get into when you play that. I don't know how he designed the game with that in mind, but it's like you just get into this mode where you're just like kind of going and like everything just starts moving and vibing and clicking. It's just, it's crazy. It's really interesting because you have to kill all the demons before you can complete the stage. So like you have to figure out like, okay, I need to use 2 shots from here, three shots from here, and then I can use the secondary to do this and grab that one and shoot this secondary and then jump here. Like, it's just so interesting and so fun. Just kind of get like elbows deep and just like figure out a level. It's just, it's so rewarding. And I'm assuming Taylor mentioned like the way you get like presents or things or like other like you can get presents in each stage that you can give to your friends, that you have to like intentionally figure out the level in an obtuse way. It's really cool. It's like its own.
The gifts are never in a place. They're in a place where you have to use the cards in the level in a way that does not help you reach the end of it.
Yeah.
So it helps to serve to build your awareness of where you are in this stage, but also learn the cards and just again problem solve and puzzle solve in a different way.
Yeah, so it's very cool, and there's probably a lot of people turned off by it because like I don't know, half of the game is like a visual novel and the other half is like a speed running thing, but you can skip the story. Like, it's not like
really easily. You can press the F key and it literally just zooms past it all the time.
So it's just very fun to play, and the way I can't even like speak to like how well it's thought out. Like it's so intentionally thought out to be a speed running game. Like it's so easy to like restart a level. It's so easy to restart a level multiple times and then get the thing you want and then start the next like stage. Like it's just so fluid. It's so it doesn't get in your way, which is good. Like it just kind of lets you like, hey, like go, and you just go, and then there's like no little things you're just getting annoying. Like, oh, it's annoying to go into this menu to go to the next level. It's like, no, you just press escape, and there's the next level button at the top. Like,
Hmm.
it's really well thought out on every design standpoint. The story I think is really good. Taylor doesn't for whatever reason, but I think it's like it's genuine. It's a genuinely funny game, which I think is rare. I mean, it might not be funny to a lot of people, but it's just like it's made me laugh a lot, which is hard for games to do. Games really don't make me laugh, but this one just has good humor, and I think the story is cool because it's just written differently. It's like it's intentionally horny. It's intentionally like very just like on the nose about stuff, and I just like that a lot. I like this like very just like we're gonna be cringy and edgy but we know that we are, and they just have fun with it.
I
I'm
feel like
curious to how it plays on the Switch. I think Dolly should buy it on the Switch and tell
that's
us.
what I've heard it
the-
plays pretty well, but again,
Yeah, I mean, so I've watched some videos mostly because as I've done my best to beat all of my friends' times, a lot of the videos that are uploaded are actually from Switch,
Oh, wow.
and so it definitely took a graphical fidelity hit. There's a lot of water in the levels, and those reflections are almost non-existent. But it definitely runs at 60, which is imperative. Well, I mean, you can't port this game to Switch and not have it run at 60.
Right.
It's core to the playing the video game by being like the speed running thing that it is. So
Sure.
It has
yeah,
gyro aiming too, so I mean, hey, gyro aiming, whatever. Dolly,
I like
Also-
gyro.
let me see.
Gyro.
Gyro is gyro
Gyro
aiming.
aiming.
Hero-
You can throw
hero aiming.
Slocky at the screen.
But yeah, I mean, like the gyro aiming sounds like it would kind of be necessary, especially for really fast times. You need really precise aiming in a lot of cases. But yeah, I mean, my favorite thing is, and I've already had somebody, an old friend of mine, reach out to me, who was like, "I saw you coming up on the leaderboards, so I just wanted to let you know that I'm coming back." And then I went and I spent this afternoon beating all of his times. So it's that kind of game as well, on top of everything else, which is, you know, you've got the global leaderboard, and then you've got the local leaderboard. Our own Scratty Bones, Aaron Kelly, out here also posting some hot times in some cases. So
yeah, like I was talking about it in another Discord, like, hey, this game's good, and then I just had a random person I've never talked to in there say, hey, add me as a friend. So like we were just racing against each other, and it's just like I was like, oh god, he's
so
0.2 milliseconds faster than me. Oh my god, what do I do? How did he get like you're just sitting there racking your brain like what? How did he like?
there
How
are
did he
some
do
levels
this?
there are some levels that are just really tuned where, you know, you do, like in the whole run, there's one that I can think of where you literally go straight, jump, dash, land on a pillar, jump, and then dash again. And like that's actually, you don't even do the second dash. It's literally just those 4 actions. It's run, jump, dash, jump, run. And I don't know, there's like somehow somebody has an additional like 500 milliseconds off of that time. Like there's nowhere else to go. That's the whole level. I don't know.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it's so also I will say another cool thing is one of my favorite cards is the blue cards, like a little sniper. It's like a dash. It's a forward dash, and when you hit another monster demon, the demon will drop its power. So some of these demons have certain powers associated with them. So when you dash through them, you get their power. And there are some levels that are dedicated to that mechanic that are so fucking fun. And
Or you think about
I
the one where you just dash, 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 dash,
yeah,
dash.
and you have to like
Yeah.
aim correctly, and then it's like you're dashing, and then you get a yellow gun, and you're like, oh shit, I have to jump somewhere. Where's this jump? Okay, it's around this pillar, so you're like curving around the pillar, you're jumping onto these balloons. Or okay, here, like, and then you finally get it so fast, and then someone has one that's like 0.5 faster. It's like, how the fuck did you like? Is there a certain angle, and you need like it's crazy. It's
I
really
would
fun.
probably be like twice as far through the game if I didn't
Mm.
have Zach's times showing at the end of every run.
Yeah.
Because I
Making you
would
go back and try to beat
I
them.
would literally not progress to the next level until I was faster than Zach's
That's
time.
awesome.
Yeah. So, and also like it encourages you to um get, so there's certain times you have to beat for each stage, and it'll show you there's like 3 medals that you can get. It's like first, second, third, and for each level there's like things you unlock. So it's like first one I think is like you unlock this like a secret path. It'll show you like a different path, and then the second one is a ghost, so you can see the ghost of your fastest time. And I think you also unlock the gifts then as well.
Yes.
And then the third is you unlock the leaderboard. So you have to at least get the fastest time the game tells you that's the fastest to unlock the leaderboard. And then that's when things actually get crazy. You're like, okay, I finally figured it out on my time. I felt really good about that. It took me 45 minutes. Let's see. Oh shit, like they're 2 seconds faster than me. Okay, now let's go back and grind this out.
It's really weird because it basically is just golds, or there's 4 because there's bronze, silver, gold, and then platinum. And it's really weird if you go from like a bronze is like, okay, I'm gonna take my time, go through it, figure out the level, and then I'm gonna beat it. Silver is okay, I found the right way, but I messed a couple things up and I was too slow. Gold is I followed the clear direction of the natural level design and made it to the end. And then platinum is, okay, I know how to beat the level, and then I followed the hint, which shaved off a couple seconds, and now I've got the platinum time. So you do that, and then you see the leaderboard, and you're like, okay, I mean, I went from bronze at like 45 seconds, and now I'm platinum at 25 seconds. And then you go to the global leaderboard, and it's like 10.25 seconds. And you're like, where is 15 seconds coming from? It's just like somehow. And then, you watch a video of somebody doing it, and you're like, I mean, it's really cool to like be a part of the, like, because I'm not going to speed run a normal game.
Right.
This game is that already, so I'm already kind of in the environment where it's like, if I wanted to do some of those things, all of the tools are right there. I'm not trying to do anything else because that's what the game is, and I like that part of it.
Yeah, it's like you don't have to do any no clipping or anything special.
Right.
Like the things that are there that will let you get that time are just there. Like you just need to use your tools and figure it out. Like, and that's what's cool, because like there are some times I've seen it like, how the hell does someone get that? And then I go look it up on YouTube and like, oh, because I automatically assume someone's hacking. That's the first thing I'm like, someone's clearly hacking these times, but no, they're real. Like people are just like figuring out unique ways to use the powers, or they use them out of sequence, which is also really interesting from a game design standpoint. Like, oh, let's use this out of sequence. Like, yeah, it's just so smart and well tuned. Yeah, just from like a gameplay perspective, like it's just definitely, I think, the best thing this year so far. Like it's definitely like I love it to death. It just sings. Like it's crazy. Yeah, but it's just like so hard for me to play it because like I'll sit there and play one stage or like one thing that's like usually like 8 levels within a stage. I'll play that for like 2 hours just so I can get everything to where I want it to be, which is like, so then after 2 hours, like, hey, time to go do the story. But then the time I want to do the story, it's like, I'm already tired. Time to go to bed. So it's just like, it's been a slog, but not like a bad slog. Like, oh, yeah. Like, yeah,
it's been a slog. It's felt like a slog because like I want to progress, but then you get in the middle of it and you're like, I can't go yet.
Yeah.
And you're doing what you want to do, but you just want your brain to work a little bit differently. Like I had one act, series of levels where I left one level at gold instead of platinum. And I was literally the first thing that I did when I sat down to play it again today was like, all right, I have to go to get the gold one. And the only reason I didn't do it is because I accidentally clicked play next level, instead of replay level the first time around. I would have cleared it. I would have tried it again immediately otherwise.
Yep.
But yeah, that's
that
good.
Definitely happens. Yeah, I had that once where it was like 3 golds that I was just like, I was laying in bed. I was like, tomorrow I'm gonna go back down and get those plats because it just kind of burns a hole, man.
So I've been using Dali during this podcast. Here's a Dali of Neon White speedrun. I think it'll be very, very apt. There you go. Neon White speedrun.
That's definitely. Oh, so I was thinking. So like I streamed the game for like an hour, maybe like last Friday or 2 Fridays ago. I don't remember. But during the process of streaming it, I'm like, man, this is a horrible stream game to watch because you're just going to sit here and watch me restart for an hour. Like,
yeah, I mean, that's one of the most core things about the game is that it literally has a dedicated. And actually, I'm glad that we started to stream that we started the show because I was getting to the point where I was like pressing the F button. So the F button literally just restarts the level no matter what you're doing at any time. Press F, boom, you're at the beginning again. And I was getting to the point where I was trying to grind out a path on a level, and I was just pressing F accidentally. And I was like, okay, no, this is not good.
Dude,
this is step away time.
There's some levels where you're like, okay, I need to jump first, and you jump, and you just know when you press it, you're like, fuck, okay, F, jump, F, jump, F, jump, F, jump, F, jump. Okay, let's go F. That's just the natural progress of that game.
Taylor, maybe you should have played on a different device, like your Steam Deck. This is Taylor playing Neon White on his Steam Deck using Dali.
That's a Nintendo Switch.
Right.
Yeah, they made it look really Nintendo Switchy. Actually, I have not put it on Steam Deck yet, but I probably will tomorrow.
All right, I have one more. Okay, I have one more. Neon White, if it was created by M. Night Shyamalan. M. Night Shyamalan's Neon White video game.
Oh my god!
Check this out. Woo!
It kind of looks like Cruelty Squad.
There
it looks like Cruelty Squad. It looks like
really
Cruelty Squad and like the Kingdom Hearts 2 cutscene where Riku and Roxas fight.
Oh my god! Awesome. Incredibly bizarre.
Okay, enough Dali fun. Neon White, everybody, good deal.
Yeah,
it's really good. Hey, and the story, I think the story is really funny.
Shut up, Taylor. Stories. What else have you been playing? I think we're gonna move to Taylor, right?
Yes, Taylor.
Anything else, Taylor?
I've been still dabbling a little bit in Dragon's Dogma. That game is less compelling.
Okay.
Dragon's Dogma just really shows its age.
Sure.
It's an open world game, but it also has it's a good example of the trappings of open world games because it falls to it tosses a shit ton of side quests at you all the time immediately. But there's also an overarching main quest that they just don't track. So if you missed a piece of dialogue where they were like, yo dog, you gotta go over here to talk to what's his face to do the thing, and that's not tracked. And I have this fucking quest log that's got 20 things in it, and I can press it at any time and have it pop up on the map, but not tell me where I had to go for my main story quest.
It's a game. Dragon's Dogma is a good game, right? I'm going to go ahead and say that first. But it's a game that is a slave to its own mechanics. It's so mechanics focus that it loses sight of what's important, which is the story, which is the good thing in an open world game.
Yeah, and like
Um,
the other part of the story is okay. So like the whole thing is that you play as a type of character called an arisen, which basically just means that you died and then sorry, I gotta Zach, talk for a second. My
so
dad is
yeah, so
around.
you're in Arisen, you died, you lose your heart, like a dragon takes your heart. And it's like a sick. So I was gonna spoil the game. Holy crap! Yeah, so you're just a guy who loses his heart, and you can summon these things called pawns, which are like in this aether void that are gonna help you fight the dragon.
Mm.
That's basically it. Like, hey, go kill the dragon. He took your heart. Yeah, I almost spoiled the game.
Yeah, I appreciate you not doing that because I'm actually wearing my wireless headphones this time.
Oh shit!
And but yeah, so like none of it's really clear. So like I like that part, and I'm okay with having it be a true mystery because they really don't tell you jack shit about anything that's happening, except that you wake up after you die and then get resurrected, and you can hear the dragon's voice, and it's like, yo, you gotta come kill me now, I guess. And
Yeah,
you're like,
so
oh, and you're like, okay, and then
yeah,
literally as you're trying to leave town, a pawn just fucking drops out of the nether and is like, "Yo, doc, I'm here to help you."
hello.
And you're like, "Why?" And you're like, "I'm a pawn. That's how it works, dog.
That's how
That's
it
it."
works now.
And really, I mean, that's literally it. And then you talk to the rock, and you go into pawn world, and then you summon the strongest pawn that you can find.
It's pretty easy because if you buy
and you're
Dark
gonna need it.
Arisen, well, if you buy Dark Arisen, you have like a premium currency that you only get for like people using your pawn. So you can just like pretty much summon the strongest pawn if you have the like newest version.
I
Yeah,
do.
so it's kind of busted at the start.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
mean,
whatever.
I'll tell you what. I needed it, so like I don't know. I'm like 2 hours, 3 hours in. So anyway, you go to a town and then you kill a hydra or you chop off a hydra's head and then you take that hydra and then the
Woo!
person at the town, yeah, it was sweet. Everyone's like, "Holy shit, you are strong," and I was like, "Yeah."
And then you
And
do the worst part of the game where you transport a fucking head across
oh, it
Grand
was
Soren.
yeah, it was fucking boring as hell.
Yeah.
And that's the other part is that there's like really bad lulls, which is like
Yup.
you're in this cool open world, and then it's like, ah, how about you kill 15 harpies, and literally it's just harpies in a valley.
Sweet.
For, now, granted, I have a class that has a bow, and I had
Strider.
yeah. Yeah, so I got the daggers and a bow, and so I have a mage with me, and he keeps enchanting my bow with fire, and harpies are weak to fire, so that shit was real easy.
This week to fire, Arisen.
Oh my god, that's the other thing is that it's really cool because the pawns have like a bunch of voice lines. It's really not cool that they said that they set the amount of times that pawns talk to like maximum at all times.
You can turn that off.
I know you can, but I didn't. And you fight nothing but harpies for like 15 minutes. Every single time you attack a harpy, or a harpy shows up, or you killed a harpy, or you attack a harpy again, the harpies are weak to fire. Like every single time.
No, dude,
They
wait. So there's this meme. It's like wolves hunting packs.
yes,
Arisen. They'll always say that when you're just walking around. It's like, bro.
yeah, literally. There's like probably an invisible wolf spawning token somewhere in the map, and the pawns like obviously know it. So it could be the middle of the day, and it probably triggers. I don't know. That actually hasn't happened to me, but I'm just assuming that it's going to eventually. But anyway, so it's still really cool. Anyway, so you take the Hydra head, you go to the castle because the chick from the place where you kill the Hydra is like the Duke is going to want to know about this.
She's
for
French too, by the way. Only French person.
Uh-huh.
For sure, why not? Anyway, so you get there, and then I don't think you actually meet the Duke. But everybody is like, the Duke is very pleased with this. But before you do that, there's a place in the castle
Masterworks all.
where just the pawns live.
Yeah.
And everybody that you talk to is like, yeah, we don't know why the pawns are drawn to this place, but they are. And then you talk to the pawns and they're like, we don't know why either, but we're here. And and then you talk to some dude who's like, I don't know, kind of like mayor of Pawnville. And he's like, yo, there's a giant cave and we're all really into the cave and we don't know why, but something's up and we need you to go down and take a look. And so you go down and there's like this little catacomb and there's undead and skeletons and that's all fine. And then there's an ogre
He's cool.
and I can't kill it. You
Why
cannot.
not?
I can't kill it.
Hmm.
Try
I
to
can
remember
kill
what
every
the-
other enemy that's in that dungeon. The ogre, I would have to fight that thing for 30 minutes. So there's my grand thing is that anyway. So you get to the bottom, and then there's a weird like demonic creature that's there.
You're supposed to climb on his back,
Yeah.
and then he'll like try and get you off his back, and then he'll fall on his back to try and get you off. But if you jump off before he lands on you, you can like hurt him a lot on his stomach.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
You should get a pawn and swap that thing, you know?
It would be really fucking sweet if the pawn said something about that shit instead. The only thing that they talked about is the ogre is mesmerized by the visage of a woman, and it would literally, I had two women in my party, and the ogre would literally just sit there dumbfounded, and you're like, cool, I don't know what to do with this. Like, this is useless. I mean, obviously probably jump on his back, which I did do a couple times. I mean, that's one of the big things about Dragon's Dogma is that there's a button dedicated to grappling. You jump and then you just grab shit, and which is really neat because it works. It's just, I mean, I just ran past it instead. Anyway, so then you get down there, there's a crystal, demonic things spawn, and then you just have to run back. It was weird. But it's like, it has a really cool framework. And so I'll go back to it. But it just sucked because I did that whole thing. It's not clear that that's what you have to do as far as the main quest is concerned. It clearly was. You get done there, somebody like blindsides you immediately. It's like, they're here to see you now. You have to go. And then there's a guy who's like, you're an arisen and you're clearly strong. So now here's some things that you can help us with.
Right. Yeah.
And
so
I don't know. Like, is that what I'm supposed to do now? Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So here, I will say you are past the hardest, most bad part of the game. You're in the good part now. Yeah, because once you get to Grand Soren, which is like the hub, the big like castle or whatever, things just start going off. You start going exploring, you start doing shit. That's when the game starts to become cool. The first 2 hours of the game is horrible. Like, I hate it,
dude. Oh my god!
So every time I think about replaying the game, I think about that, and I'm just like, I don't want to play this game, despite it being really good.
I will the part I was talking about where you can go to a quest and then you can say, okay, Mighty Quest interface, tell me where to go on the map. So I got myself it has taken me way longer than it should have to get to the point where I am, because it kept telling me to go what I would. So there's, okay, step back, collecting thoughts. So the first thing that happens after you wake up after dying and then being resurrected is there's a person who's like, yo, the dragon just attacked. We need medicine real bad. And it's like, oh, we need day flowers and we need a night flower. Okay. So you go out, you collect the day flowers. There's some goblins, easy shit. And then the night flower obviously only blooms at night. I got that. It was literally called Night Bloom. I'm not an idiot. But if you go to the map or go to the quest and then say, where on the map is this? It shows you this whole, like, past this garrison, and then you take a turn to the left and it's way out there. It's not fucking there. But what is there is bandits that don't take any damage from you and will shoot and will kill you in 2 sword swings. where the flower actually was is in the town that you're living in. You just have to go to the fucking inn, stay for the night until nighttime, and then go pick the flower at the beach.
This is what we call video game magic, okay?
It was that part was pretty frustrating.
Yeah, it's
But
Dragon's Dogma is a baffling game. It's so strange that a game like this has a loud and like fan base. It has such a huge community.
yeah,
Like people love this game because
of the pawn system and because of
because
the
of
open world.
the pawn system, but like because it gets good the more you play. Like the initial hook I think is good enough to make someone trudge through the horrible tutorial, but like the game genuinely becomes a genius game that uses its mechanics in such a smart way. Yeah, it's really cool. The ending of the game actually makes the rest of the game make sense, which is fun. But yeah, I will say
I'm gonna go back to it. You're giving me hope that the rest of it is nothing like the part that I just played.
The rest of it is like, hey, just go get strong and strong enough to go fight the dragon and kill it. That's just kind of it. So it's just like go do shit. There is a secret mechanic the game doesn't talk about, which is the character you talk to the most is going to become your girlfriend or your boyfriend. Naturally, that's the merchant, who is a very fat guy. So whenever people play the game for the first time, there's a plot twist. It's like, hey, you need to go save your loved one, and it's always the fat merchant. So if you don't want to go save the fat merchant, you should probably talk to a different person. But that's a thing that happens to every person who plays. And I just spoiled it because it's funny to talk to.
Yeah, no, I really
talk about.
That is not a spoiler to me.
But yeah, I have a really fond memory of this game because in 11th or 12th grade is when it came out originally, and my friend and I both bought it at the same time, and I brought a TV over to his house and my console, and we just played it. Like his parents were out of town for a week, and we legit just like we would walk to school because we lived like 2 blocks away. We'd come home, play Dragon's Dogma every day, like, and we were using each other's pawns. We were going back and forth. Like it's just so fun to have that like social experiment because we were both like seeing different things and just kind of going around. And just now what the game is with the Dark Arisen DLC is really cool. It's just like a bunch of levels just fighting shit. Yeah,
I will
such
say,
an interesting game.
I'm thinking about if this game came out, 10 years ago, and if I'd picked it up then, it definitely would have. I mean, obviously, it would have been more impressive than what I'm seeing now. But it's very cool that you just go out and the dynamic grappling system is really cool. And
it's like, hey, grab this ogre's leg to make him trip because his leg is too heavy. That's cool as fuck. Hey, there's this thing. Cool. There's this chimera flying in the sky. My warrior pawn is going to put his shield up, and I'll jump on his shield, and he'll fling me up to that guy, and I'll grab him. Like, bro, name another game that does that. You literally can't. Like, that's a mechanic. Your pawn will be like, Arisen over here, and he'll just launch pad you up. It's so sick.
Did you guys know that they made Dragon's Dogma online?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I did.
Was that only like in Japan or?
Yes.
Okay. You guys remember
right.
deep down the Dragon's Dogma game that wasn't a Dragon's Dogma game?
Yeah. Dude, I am just deep down they showed off at like Sony press conference for the PS4, I think.
I think so, yeah.
And it was like a new Capcom game, and that eventually became Dragon's Dogma.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm just excited to see what they do for 2 as well, because I mean they have this new Resident Evil engine. They have the things that they changed with that Itsuno, the director, learned with Devil May Cry 5, which will be interesting to see what he brings to Dragon's Dogma 2. Yeah, I don't know. I think this game now, especially with like with good graphics, updated everything, will really shine and become like another hit. I think it's just kind of there. Oh yeah, there's also another hidden thing, Dolly, is if your character, so you can make your character like tall, short, make their limbs certain lengths. This all affects how quick they travel in water, how quick they can walk through water, how quick they just walk in the world, how fast they swing things, how much stamina they have, your arms and body and torso, all these things you can change in the character customization. They don't tell you this, by the way. It's just like, hey, make a dude, and you can make a guy who's just like super clumsy without you even like knowing about it. And it also, your character's hip height also affects if like where the lantern hangs. So you want to have a higher hip so your lantern hangs and doesn't like extinguish from the water. It's just all this cool stuff that they just don't tell you about. It's a very mechanics heavy game, which is so cool, but it never says anything. Hey, shut up.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, I will have to go back, make sure that I go back to it, because I will admit I was a little stymied on it after going through that.
Yep.
But it does work very well on Steam Deck, which is where I've been playing it. So I will say that.
You been playing anything else, or is that those are the two kind of projects?
I think I pulled out a couple of the other Steam Next Fx demos before it ended. Zach, I did play Celico.
Bro, that game's crazy.
Celico's real cool.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be a banger when it comes out. Like 90% chance.
Nuts. That game is nuts, dude. Like it, Dolly. So this guy basically took the modded Doom 1 and 2 engine and made this like modern like fear game. It's like, it's crazy. It's just wild. It's so good.
It's really cool.
Interesting.
It looks really like it feels really good to play. It just like it looks and feels visceral. The map feels old but new. Yeah, I don't know. It's good. It's well designed.
It feels like Fear, like playing Fear 1 for the first time. Like that's what it feels like. It's like, yeah, it's just crazy that it's in the Doom engine. Like, what the fuck?
And then I played Nine Souls. It's like a side-scrolling action game. It was okay. Not bad.
I missed it. I downloaded a couple demos, but I ended up not having time. I was in Florida when the Steam Next Fest was happening, so I came back and it's like, all right, I have one day to download and play things, and then you just can't do anything in one day. So
yeah. So I ended up spending 10 hours on Dome Keeper.
I remember you mentioned
also,
that. Yeah.
Figured I'd give it another shout out. Yeah, I mean I did beat it.
You beat the demo?
I beat the demo.
Yeah, so okay, my two shout outs are Spark 3. Spark 3 is really good. I hate Sonic games, but this Sonic game feels really fun. It just feels so good to play. It's by one guy in Brazil. Holy shit. Yeah, it's a good platformer, good like fast-paced precision platforming. That one's cool. And Frogun, which is a game of like, it's like a little platforming puzzle game where you have a gun that's a frog, and you can use it to like use your tongue to like jump across the map, solve puzzles. It's like another speedrunning focus level type game. It's really fun. So definitely check those two out.
Yeah, I just looked at the two videos for that game. I was like, yeah, those are both definitely Zach games.
Yeah.
And I want to give a shout out to all of the insiders who said that there will be a Nintendo Direct June 15th, and then that shifted to June 29th, and then to June 28th, and it's not a full Direct. Now it's a partner Direct, but it's also a full Direct, but there'll be a full Direct later. And then There
People
So
who
the
try
answer-
and predict Nintendo stuff, I always just push them to the side because you can't predict Nintendo.
You can't predict.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: is that like what that means to me is that we are seeing real information coming out, and the reason why we don't know or we don't have a definitive answer is because Nintendo is literally still fucking figuring it out. They actually genuinely do not know.
Yeah,
and they are having internal debates.
Yep. It's funny because like this is the first time where I genuinely have no idea. Like I will get a sense usually leading up to a direct. It's like there's probably something coming in the next week, or stay tuned on this date. And I've even tweeted it out a few times, like stay tuned on this date. You're gonna get Splatoon info if you really like Splatoon 2 or whatever. But nothing this time. It's been like radio silence from my sources. But apparently everybody else has other sources that just kept changing nonsense. But yeah, this is one of those cases where Nintendo was like, do we even really need to? I mean, just throw a video out there, throw a tweet out there that says Bayonetta 3 is coming October, and we have our second half of the year covered. So that's basically it. But, all right. Maybe more stuff to talk later this week. Who knows?
Who knows?
We'll see.
We'll see. It is 10:30 Detroit time where I'm at. Taylor time. It is 9:30 or 8:30 Zach time.
It's Dragon Quest 10
It's
time.
Dragon Quest 10 time. Here, you can find Zach playing Dragon Quest, but also at OK Quest. I can find all of us in the Discord, by the way.
Yeah.
At
True.
Taylor Bliss. Look at that. At Taylor Bliss and at Dolly Demofsky. But come to the Discord. We have a great time in there. We have a lot of good chats, and we joke around a lot. We make each other the butt of jokes, which I think is really good because we get almost like a familial level of trust in each other in a weird way. It's like I poke at my brother and I poke at my cousins, and I'm like, I feel comfortable. Ryan Gann, by the way, Wiener Gann in the Discord, SideQuesting co-founder Ryan Gann, only spews out sarcasm, but the more he pokes at you, the more he actually likes you because he's confident. Excuse me. He's confident you can take it, and he's comfortable giving you that level of poke. And so come to SideQuest for the games, you get poked. With that said, you can find us sidequesting.com, SideQuesting TV on Twitch, SideQuesting on YouTube, all of your favorite places to listen to music and podcasts because we're there. I think the only thing we're not on is terrestrial radio, but I'll figure out a way to. Who knows? I'll figure that out. With that said, see you on the next episode of The Side Quest. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Bye-bye.